Hey everybody, Nathan Wilbur here. I have a special guest, a dear friend. Many of you recognize his face. Joshua Aaron is here, and it's been a year ago since we were together last. And being with you over this past weekend, Joshua, over Gather the Nations, what a beautiful, powerful time of worship, uh, the family coming together to worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. The unity was just overwhelming. And yeah, we just to come together here and really just kind of talk and share from our hearts.
hmm
Obviously, a year ago, people usually have this idea where you have an anniversary, right? And it's at that moment where you remember something. But for us, October 7th is a lot more impactful. It's been 366 days daily of a reminder because of the hostages still being in Gaza. War since the beginning, since the inception of this. There has been no time for us in the Jewish community to even process what happened on October 7th because we've had to go
Yeah,
right into a time of war. And I feel
yeah.
like while I feel it's important, Joshua, I'm going to send it to you in a minute because for us, talking about it, it helps because we don't really know like who we talk to, right? It's kind of we hit this moment in time, and I remember it. And the only thing I can liken it to is 9/11. I remember where I was when the
hmm
Twin Towers were hit, what I was experiencing, but we would all talk about it. We're Americans, right? We're American
Yeah,
Jews. But this one's a lot different. Uh, we don't I don't know how what happens for you, but our family, we do all we can to get the word out there, to share what's going on and what's happening in Israel. Let's continue to pray and all these things. But because of how the media has kind of covered everything, it's almost like sometimes you have to walk on eggshells as you're just traveling, and we have our I will stand with Israel gear and as we're wearing it,
hmm
but we're still like, is that person okay with, like, they're staring at me? Am I going to have a
yeah,
confrontation?
yes.
So why
It's
don't you
this.
just share a little bit? I've started talking a little too much, but why don't you just go ahead
No,
and just
no,
share
no,
a
it's
little
okay.
from your perspective?
Well, first of all, it should never be that we would have to be worried about wearing Israel gear, etc. And a billion, or I don't know the number of Muslims all around the Middle East, and there's just 7 million or so of us in Israel, and all we want to do is live and let our children thrive in our little country, what we have, and it's preposterous that we have to worry, that the world, um, uh, a good, I want to say majority, but a good amount of the world is either silent or, not taking a stand for the only democracy left in Israel, in the Middle East, which is Israel. So for me, it's still hard to fathom, that we've got hostages still, women and children and men still waiting in tunnels, or we don't even know where they are, somewhere in Gaza. And the world, those that hate or stand with Hamas won't even really recognize that that's even true a lot of times. So for me, it's just coming to grips with the reality that could only be supernatural, like it can only be like satanic. I don't know how else to say it because it makes no sense that we could be people could think this way and say from the river to the sea, even, which only means my people, my great grandparents were killed in the Holocaust, the Schweitzers. My grandmother, thank God, made it out only because her mother had a dream twice, because they didn't know, all our people had no idea about the final solution. They just knew it was really bad, but nobody knew they were. I mean, at one point they are all were deceived in thinking they were, just somewhere else. They weren't being murdered. But she made it, and made it to Israel, and my mom was born in Israel, and we today you think all that's behind us. That type of hatred, of sterilizing the world from a people group, And in this instance, it's sterilizing the world of a nation, you know. So I just can't believe we're living through this. And for me, it's really double fold because I moved back to my mom's country, and now my children serving in Israeli Defense Forces, which is mandatory. So my daughter just got out, thank God. My son is. I just got off the phone right before I called you. He was going to bed. He's like, "Abba, I gotta go quick. I got like 2 minutes out of him." He's like, they're gonna make sure I have like these like certain times a day he can use his phone. Um, but Emma is out. Thank God my son is there. He's safe right now. But it reminds me of when I got the call that morning. I was sleeping at your house. You were saying about remembering where we were, and I was with you. I was with you, brother, at your house, and we had a great time praying and interceding. And the next morning, my whole world flipped upside down because here I was in America, Nathan and Malky's beautiful house, and having a great time with my family, extended family in the kingdom, the Wilburs, and then the next morning just rudely waking up, all of us, and then my only daughter of my 5 kids is over there. She was over there, she's a sergeant in the IDF, and now she has to live through the worst battle in our lifetime in Israel. So for me, it was the beginning of a huge shock that began an emotional many, many, many months of tears and just curled up crying, me and my wife just worrying about our daughter and my cousins and my family that were in the military, my friend Chaim Mailspin and other friends as well in the military. But I think that's why we're on here now, because I think we just want to remind people to don't stop praying for Israel. Don't stop praying for our hostages. Don't stop praying that God will bring them back.
Yeah, there's this command in the scripture, the Torah, Tanakh, and the Lord says to remember, and also this word honor. You're we're remembering what occurred so that hopefully we don't put ourselves in a position where we're recommitting things or doing things that turn us away from God, from His face, from His
Hmm.
His glory, from representing who He was. And I remember, I mean, 9/11 for me it was hurtful as an American. We had a dear friend, his brother, who worked in one of the towers, and he perished that day. Jewish, by the way, working in the financial. And so consoling our dear friend, and but it was like when you fast forward October 7th, the amount of family friends that we have, I mean, our phones were just like lit, and then we're checking
Yeah.
in. It's almost like to think of, you would almost have to liken it to, you have a bunch of friends on the border of Mexico, and the cartels are driving through Texas and they're just taking out towns, and you're texting frantically everybody checking in, are you okay?
Are
And
you
for
okay?
me,
Yeah.
it was just like oh, just thinking about back to like October 7th. I took you to the airport, and we were just like weeping because of your daughter and our friends. I couldn't text and drive, obviously. I just wanted to like pull over to the side of the road, figure out what was going on, and came back here to my house. I went live just to let people know, please pray. I'm getting all of these indications that it's really bad right now. And then the videos coming through of the hostages that were taking back, these sweet, precious children, young girls. Um, my heart, I mean, I don't know, it was probably weeks of daily just crying and
Oh, yeah.
talking with friends. And then once, I knew probably through a week, just checking in took to see where things were at, obviously heading into war. Um, as we continue to pray, there's still 101 hostages that are in Gaza. And the news just came out today. They thought Sinwar, who's now the leader of Hamas, he might not be around anymore, but they just found out that he made contact and he is still alive. He's carrying a bag of
Oh, I did not know
dy-
that.
Yeah, this is just fresh from the last, I think, 2 or 3 hours. And he's
Wow.
carrying a bag of dynamite with him and surrounded by hostages, so that if Israel tries to, come after him, he'll blow himself up and the hostages with him. It's just my
I
heart.
haven't been. I don't watch the news much, but I did not
Yeah,
know that.
it's I try not to look at the news. I try to just look at headlines to keep up. And right now we're in Florida and we're dealing with a hurricane coming straight for
Yeah,
Tampa.
I'll be praying for you, brother.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
just left. I just left this morning from Orlando.
I'm glad you're not in Florida.
Yeah.
Um,
My son just told me on the phone. He said they saw a rocket going up from over the Jordan side, so from Iran. He said that went up, and he said he kind of heard a little sound and it disappeared. He said that it felt really close, like he just saw it today. He said him and his soldier friends. Yeah, the reality over there right now is it's crazy. It's crazy. He sent me a video 2 days ago. He had a couple of days off. He was going back to his base, and he's in Haifa, my mom's hometown. And he said he gets off the bus, and all of a sudden the alarms go off. So like they just lay on the ground, and he sent me a little video of like people laying all around him, and he just talks to me so normal, like, yeah, that was crazy, but I'm at the base now, and it's just
mhm,
the new normal in Israel is it's I want to tell him it's not normal, but he needs to be able to do this to cope through this. And there's a
mhm,
coping thing that happens in Israel with us when we were in there, when I was there a couple months ago. But like I didn't experience this. I was there mostly the safe times, but our friends are just like, we got this, But deep down, there's these little scars that are happening. Like every time I hear a fire alarm in America, it's a lot of these towns have the same exact alarm system that sound. It's the exact one you hear for a bomb coming. And I remember when we used to bring Israelis to the States, and we'd fly a soldier each year. My wife and I used to do it before we moved back. And I remember with my buddy Avichai, a young Israeli, just got out of the Israeli army, and and we're sitting in the back porch of my mother-in-law's house, and the fire alarm went off. And he grabbed my arm. He's like, "Where do we go?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. It's just a fire alarm. A lot of times, sometimes it's even an announcement. It's not necessarily a fire. Like just that that residual shock that's just kind of there. You don't even realize it's there because you're coping." I'll tell you one more story. In 2006, I wasn't living there then. I went to visit my uncle at his kibbutz near Akko, the ancient city of Akko, and that was right after the last Lebanon, the big Lebanon war. And they're handing out free balloons in the mall there. It's just this little shopping plaza, and one of the balloons popped, and I'm just like, oh, a balloon popped. But I looked around, and the whole entire mall just like ducked, like, and I don't think they even realized they were in shock. And I realized I just landed the day before, a couple days before, so I'm like, whoa, like so. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, please pray for the spirit and the the um, psychologically for our people Israel right now, that God would give them strength as well. Of course, that they would really know the Prince of Peace, who brings full true peace as well.
yeah, it was beautiful in Orlando being with you and celebrating the nations coming together
That's great. It's
because
so great.
it was the nations. And we're
Hmm.
all celebrating the fact that our king has this land. He has a kingdom. It's based from Jerusalem, and he has a land called Israel. We're the caretakers, the people who are looking after it. And but God's heart is for all the nations, for all of us to come
Oh
together.
yeah,
And you had Native First Nations doing worship.
that was crazy.
We had an Arab brother. We had
Yep.
quite a few Jews, thank God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was nice being in a majority for once, in terms of the speakers, not attendance, but
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Hispanic. But it was like seeing the heart of God, all of us coming together, and we're all prioritizing each other over ourselves.
Yeah.
We were
Hmm.
coming together, Father, not our will, what's your will? We're praying for Israel, and we're also praying for each other, for the cares, and we were praying for the hurricane damage that had come through Florida initially and went up through South and North Carolina
Yeah.
causing devastation. It's like when someone in our family hurts, we all hurt. And we all are coming together. We're all praying for Israel. We're all praying for Florida and all the different elements that all of our communities are dealing with right now. And
Hmm.
there's something beautiful with prioritizing God's way because there is a way in which he likes things done. It's just, I mean, don't we all? And through this time of remembering, it it really, I think it shows the true heart of what's inside of us. Are we going to prioritize God and his ways, or are we going to put our ways first and, push everything else out of the way? And I know you have to go
Yeah.
here in the next few minutes, but um, what what do you think? Maybe there's the three ways, maybe there's three things that you could really impart to people that you feel like if we cover these three
Hmm.
things, we could really kind of capture the heart of the essence of what's going on right now.
I mean, I wasn't ready for three things. Let me work on. Let me try that right now. Okay, ready. First would be um, living a Christian life or a messianic or a believing life biblically. And I say that because it's very easy to think this. It's very easy for people to watch and think Nathan and I are talking politically. No, no. To stand with Israel is biblical. To understand Israel is biblical. It's part of your heritage as a Christian. Those who are watching, um, and it's part of your past, present, and future. Messiah is coming back to Israel. So the enemy is trying to do something physically that God's going to do spiritually and physically as well when Messiah comes back to Israel. When Jesus said, I won't come back to Israel until Israel welcomes me back. So to try to, I think the enemy is very involved in this, and you'll find this if you're living your life trying to understand the world through biblical eyes. Two. Okay, great. Thanks for giving me these 3 points. Two. Let me think here. Two. Togetherness. The church is so divided, and it's been so sad to see the division of the church in these over 2,000 years, just split, 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 split. Uh, I don't want to get too theological, but Martin Luther reformed the Catholic Church. Reform, he basically started the path for 40,000 or how many tens and tens of thousands of new denominations. Maybe he should have just reformed the Catholic Church and we should have stayed one and like got rid of all the junk. I don't know. But all I know is we've divided so many times, and it's Jesus, it's Yeshua that unites us, and just that idea of understanding who we are, and even talking about the things we don't agree on. As long as Yeshua is in the center, we're family, so we kind of have to work those things out. Whether you're the crazy cousin or I'm the crazy cousin, we still have to come together for the family reunions. Um, and I think thirdly is just living our life with all with I want to say reckless abandon, but I don't like using that phrase, but like with determined purpose, living our lives because Jesus, Yeshua, is coming back, and understanding that we have a part to play in these last days. Um, and collectively as a body, we fill a piece of the body.
Yeah, it's very well said, bro. Appreciate you. I know you got to run. Is there anything you want to share in closing? I know, are you leading worship tonight anywhere?
Yeah, at Radiant Church here in Kalamazoo. Whoever, it's probably too late to come, but I'm going to sound check right now, and it's really cool because this pastor, Pastor Lee, it's a very liberal city, very anti-Israel city that like marches here all the time, and he's just like, nope, we stand with Israel, and I'm a little nervous because like they brought an Israeli American to come, and I'm here with Scott Volk with Together for Israel is going to share as well, and yeah, it's encouraging to see people take bold stands for what is biblical, and not just what is comfortable. So I think that just to challenge people listening to take a stand for what's right and not what's comfortable as a Christian, as a believer around the world.
Yeah, because I think Bonhoeffer said it well, silence is complicity, whether you realize it or not. When you're not speaking to
Yeah,
something, unsaid things
Yeah.
are also speaking towards it without you realizing
Yep.
it. And I believe God is going to hold us accountable for what we've done. You know, we've done the best we can. I will stand with Israel. I mean, it's very demonstrative. We've had people tell us we should probably tune it down and call it something else, worship with Paul. But we have a
Yeah, yeah,
difficult
yeah, yeah.
time not being firm. But bro, I just want to say thank you for coming on here. So proud of you, how God's using
Love you,
you.
brother.
I mean, you're doing amazing things for His kingdom, and thank you to everyone that's watching. I saw people watching from France, all over the United States.
Oh, God bless you guys. Wherever you're at in the world, we love you. The Wilburs love you. My family, we love you. And yeah, hope to worship with you guys someday, somewhere in your countries or over here in the States or in Israel.
Yeah, and we need to do some live worship. We don't have to be in the same place physically. We could do like online
True,
worship teaching moments.
true. And your wife has got an incredible voice. I'm so glad to get to sing with
Yeah,
her this week at the conference. And Shabbat in your home, I got to sing with your wife as well. That was pretty awesome. Malachi's got
yeah,
a beautiful voice.
yeah. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate you. I know you got to run, so
Yep, love you too, brother.
I'll close it out from here and praying for you tonight.
Okay, blessings.
Uh, Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Thank you everyone for watching. It looks like now the preview mode finished, but thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and just thank you for your continued prayers. You all are so precious to us. Thank you for partnering with us, praying for us. It is we feel uplifted in everything that we're doing as we're traveling nonstop. It doesn't get any quieter for us as we continue. So thank you for partnering with us. That's what makes this all possible, that we can continue to bring these messages, and having Joshua Aaron on here just to remember to pray and celebrate the goodness of the Lord, even in very difficult times. Because remember, our praise is a weapon. We war not against flesh and blood, but against evil principalities of darkness. Thanks be to God who always leads us into triumph, because He's the one that's given us the victory through our Messiah. So thank you all for watching. God bless you, and we'll hopefully do a lot more of these live.